Hi, I'm Donna Jordan from Jordan Fabrics. Today I'm going to show you how to make a pattern called Gallantly Streaming. This is really nice. The pattern can be made with either a jelly roll or a fat quarter bundle. If you use the fat quarter bundle, you're going to cut it up into 2.5-inch strips and then follow the pattern just as if you had been using strips. The pattern has instructions for 3 different sizes. I'm going to make the throw size, so that's all the fabric requirements right here. I'm going to use a jelly roll, so these strips, I'm going to need 27 strips. It calls for color 1 and color 2, and I believe that color 1 is the red part and color blue, color 2 is the blue. I'm just going to be using a variety of colors, so mine will be a little bit more scrappy looking than this version. This is a jelly roll from Robert Kaufman, and it's called Dreaming of Fall. It has a lot of pretty floral prints, kind of in fall colors, but honestly, there's a lot of purples and browns and blues. It's a really nice variety of colors. So I'm going to pick out some where the pattern calls for blue. I'm going to be using these purpley ones. Where the pattern calls for the red pieces, I'm going to use these golds and a couple of these light blues, and I think I'll put in a dark blue. Once you get them all sorted, the next step is to cut all of them in half, because we're just going to be working with half strips. Next step is to cut out some of the background. I'm using a solid bone because I think all of these colors will show up nicely against it. I'm also going to split some of these strips, and we're going to use these half strips along with some of our print ones to make some strip units. We'll start with these strips. We're going to put a background on each side of this printed strip. Since we're only using half strips, it's pretty easy to line them up and not get anything stretched. So I usually grab it way at the top and way down here by my stomach and just line up the edges and stitch without stretching. I'm going to press all of the seams toward the print, and I always like to finger press first because it makes it easier to iron later. So what I've got is the seam facing that way, and I'm going to pull it open and anchor with my finger here, and then I'm just going to pull my fingernail, pressing as I go while I'm stretching. There's kind of a knack to it, but it really helps keep this flat and keep that seam allowance going the way you want until you get it to the ironing board. We'll do the same thing with this second strip. For some reason, it's just a lot easier for me to finger press always in that direction. So I just spun the whole unit around, press it here, and just pull the fingernail or the tip of your finger right along that seam. The next strip unit, it gets 1 print and 2 background, but the backgrounds are both going to go on one side. Use the same procedure we used last time. There's one more style of strip unit we need, and it has 1 print, and then we're going to put 3 of the backgrounds onto one side. Even though we finger press them, we still do want to iron them. So I like to smooth it out, make sure it's straight, dry iron, and then some steam. All 3 types of the strip sets get subcut the same. So we're going to cut them all 2.5 inches wide. So I usually like to line up multiples on my cutting board here. So I'm lining them up on one of the straight lines, and I'm staggering them a little bit so I don't get too many layers in any one spot and none of the seams are lining up at all. Now obviously right here I could have used one big strip instead of sewing 2 strips together. Same with this guy. Instead of sewing 3 strips, I could have used a big piece of fabric, but the pattern calls for us to cut it this way. And that's because you could use a jelly roll. If you had a plain jelly roll for your background, you could use jelly roll strips here. Also, if you were using a variety of colors of backgrounds, you would get your blocks looking a little bit different here and here. Next step is to take some of our strips and we're going to subcut them down a little bit smaller into some segments here. Now I can't give you all of the sizes because it's not my pattern, but the sizes are very clear in all of Cozy's patterns, and I found that to be true with this one as well. Okay, I've got 2 different sizes there. Next step is to take some of the background strips and cut some squares. These background squares, they're going to get stitched, all of these are going to get stitched onto these 2 pieces. And so the easiest way to do it is to draw a diagonal line right across the middle of it. So I like to use a very light pencil line. So this is the first method that I'll show you for stitching this onto here. So we can stitch right along the line and then iron it open. Second method is to take these to the ironing board and you can fold these in half right across their diagonal and then iron it. Then we can use that ironed line as our stitching line. And there's one more method I will show you right at the sewing machine. The last method is to take a square, put it on your strip, and sew either by just eyeing it up, which is what I do, or there's some tape products like this. Let's find where the end is. And you can put this on your sewing machine and then you can, here we go. You can use the red line and keep the corner of your square on the red line. So you line that red line up with the needle. Goes straight down like this. So I can put this right at the needle hole. And the far end down here, just swivel it over till it's on that red line. And keep it there as you stitch. That way you don't have to press or draw a line before you start sewing. So the idea is for this to get folded open, everything should line up if you have it stitched right across the middle there. So I'm going to stitch all of these shorter pieces with the corner going that way. All of these longer pieces, they have the corner going the opposite way. So remember to keep that orientation correct as you stitch. Next step is to iron that piece in half there. And then just trim off the back 2 layers so you have a 1/4 inch seam allowance left. I like to use scissors, but you certainly could take it to your cutting board and use your blade if you like. Let's pull off the pieces we need for 1/4 of our block because the whole quilt is made from these 1/4 blocks. We need 1 of each of the units that we've already made, and we'll take those over to the sewing machine. Let's put these in the correct order here. That's going to go on the top, that's on the bottom, that one there, and this one here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we'll sew these 2 together and then put this on the side. The seam allowances are all going in opposite directions, so it's pretty easy to match everything up. And we'll press this. We'll press it up. Now we'll add this piece. And we're going to press this away from this piece here. Now we'll just add the last two pieces. It's a pretty easy block to piece. It's not tricky. Everything fits real well. For this seam here, you might actually want to stitch from this side, because then you can do your stitching here right where those come together, and that way you can make sure that your point doesn't get sewn off. I was able to see through because my background is pretty light, but if you have a darker background, it might be easier from that side. So let's iron this seam toward the middle. Actually, it wants to go toward the outside. Let's just make it go up there. I always try to iron in the direction that the pieces want to go, unless the pattern tells me to put them a certain way for future intersection matching. But on these, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to go ahead and press in the direction that the pieces want to go. And that's usually toward the piece that has less intersection. So there's only one intersection right there, but on this one, we've got three. So we'll press this away, and then let's take it to the ironing board. It's pretty flat, so all we have to do is just make sure it's not distorted, everything is looking straight. And that's the first quarter block. I went ahead and stitched up a few more so you can see what it looks like when you have 4 of them. So all we have to do is spin these around, and that is what our block is going to look like. So I'm going to go ahead and get all the blocks finished, then we can lay out the quilt on the table. I've got the blocks all done and I'm ready to lay out the quilt. This quilt does have some sashing and cornerstones, so these blocks won't go right next to each other. There'll be a little space between all of them. So that's what the whole quilt is going to look like. I haven't traded around any blocks yet, and I probably will a little because I can see that I've got this same piece 3 times in a row here, so I might spin something around because they can be turned any direction. And here's what's nice about adding the cornerstones and sashing. If there were not those items, we would end up with 4 blocks together there, which is fine, looks fine, but look at how much better it looks when you add a cornerstone in the middle. It's going to make this long chain going in both directions, and it just separates the blocks a little bit. So we're going to have this solid in here and between all of them. So it is an extra step that you have to take to sew the cornerstones and sashing, but I think it improves the quilt so much. So I'm going to go ahead and lay this all out, trade blocks around if necessary, sew it into rows, sew all the rows together. I think we've got a couple of borders to add, but then I can get it onto the quilting machine. All right, I've got some thread colors picked out here. We could go with a very conservative choice here. This is not going to show at all in the background, even on the print, because there's so much going on, it won't show. I've got this nice green. There's green in a lot of the prints. That'll show a little bit. Won't show much in the dark. The gold is what I'm thinking I would like to use. It's pretty subtle there. It matches the gold we've got on the border. And this is one option. It's kind of a very dark rosy pink, and it picks up the main color. I'm just worried that this may make too much of a statement and may distract from the patchwork. So I'm going to go with the gold. For the quilting pattern, I'm doing one called Tapestry. I love the flowers and the curly leaves. everyone. I went to the eye doctor this morning, so I've got to keep my sunglasses on today, but I got the Gallantly streaming quilt all finished. I'm very happy with how it turned out. I love those big bursts of color. They look almost like they're spinning, and because there was two different shades of colors, we've got the darker ones here and either pink or gold there, it almost makes it look two-dimensional. I'm very happy with that gold thread. You can see the flowers, you can see the leaves, but it doesn't fight with the patchwork. Those two borders frame it very nicely, and the back, it's just that teeny tiny print. It's the same print that I used on the binding. Now remember, at the beginning of the video I said you could make it with a jelly roll, or you can make it with a fat quarter bundle, because many times I'll have some fat quarters and some jelly roll strips that match. Well, you can cut them all up to make the quilt. And for the background, the pattern calls for yardage, but it all gets cut up into 2.5 inch strips, and one jelly roll is enough to do all the background for the throw size, which is what I made, 68 by 86. Thanks so much for watching our video today. We hope you enjoyed it. If you have questions, leave them in the comments and I'll be sure to answer. Now at the end of every video, we like to do a giveaway. Today's giveaway is a maple leaf runner. We did this in a video, so you can watch that to see how to make this nice border and the 5 maple leaves here. But today you can win this. It's very easy to enter the giveaway. Just go to the link right below this video that says giveaway and put in your name and your email address, and you might be the lucky winner. Now, if you like our tutorials and you want to support us, the best thing you can do is subscribe to our YouTube channel. That really helps us out. Happy quilting!